There's no doubt that The Mandalorian Season 3 didn't live up to the hype of the show. Didn't break any numbers, earn any new praise like the first season or the second season. Nothing. Squat. Season 3 should be an example of what not to do with a popular show, and that's by making Mando, the main character, seem like a side character in his own damn show. Honestly, the plot could be handled with just a random one-off sentence to explain it all. It's honestly really just subpar, the entire plot. Minor stories for each episode that don't really mean much in the grand scheme of things besides maybe building trust with these characters. But honestly, just the episodes themselves, for the most part, aren't really enjoyable to watch. I don't really care about the Imperial stuff about being assimilated into the New Republic, or like their way of life, or like how there's like a sort of like spy initiative that's going on that's like doing things for like the Empire low key. I don't give a shit, honestly. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't interest me. There's no real reason for me to really care about the whole spy aspect because as of right now, as of watching the show the entire season, it didn't really matter much. It didn't really amount to much. I don't think the episodes that clearly tried to get the two different tribes of Mandalorians to get along were really needed. They aren't children. They are professionals. They are adults. A fight here and there between no-name individuals would have been better than the leaders of these groups to be fighting each other like children. They have better judgment than that. There's a reason they are leaders. What I'm trying to say is Season 3 was filler. Book of Boba Fett was basically all filler until like sort of the very end, but you see how that turned out. I will explain the events of Season 3 and show how we can expand it and make it even better. Spoilers ahead if you haven't watched it. I'll try to keep it short and sweet, but let's get into it. Mando wants to be back in his covert again, to join his people again. The only way to do that is bathe himself in the waters of Mandalore. I think in itself, the goal to journey back to Mandalore to bathe in its waters is good. It's honestly season worthy. However, everything we know this season that there are Mandalorians trying to live on the planet, and Gideon is on a planet with his own secret base. This could have been a great idea if developed well, but they didn't. They didn't even try to go ahead and make it a season worthy goal. It was just accomplished in 1 or 2 episodes, and I think that's honestly pretty lame. After going ahead and flying over to Bo-Katan, who is a fellow Mandalorian, her Mandalorians that were by her side left her since she couldn't get the black saber, a symbol of leadership in Mandalorian culture and history. My issue here is that later on in the show, the same Mandalorians that left her because she didn't have the black saber is following somebody else who was in the group who also doesn't have the black saber. So I'm sitting here like, what's the difference? Because clearly she's the better fighter, she's the better leader. She went ahead and beat his ass. So what's the difference here? Why won't they follow her? Because she doesn't have the black saber, but this dude also doesn't have the black saber. I don't get it. It's weird. Maybe I'm missing something. Tell me in the comments if like I am missing something. But at this point in time, I just don't know. It's a stupid little thing in the season. To this point, the season begins to shift the focus to Bo being the main character, the one taking control of the show and its direction, not Mando. He was pretty much just there just to help and just, be like, hey, we need people to volunteer for this plot hook or this whatever. And then Mando's like, yeah, I'm the first one to go ahead and raise my hand. And everyone else is like, okay, if Mando's going, we're going to. So that's pretty much just him. That's his role, to get the other Mandalorians to basically raise up their hands. He's just there just to help, I guess. So when Mando comes up to her and asks where the waters are, she does go ahead and tell him where to find the waters potentially. But somewhere down the line, he gets knocked unconscious. Bo comes to save him, and they both find the ritual site for the living waters of Mandalore. Mando bathes himself but falls deep inside the water, and Bo saves him but also see a mythosaur in the waters, which is supposedly, their very symbol of Mandalorian culture. I think the potential for this goal was missed. The entire goal of this season could have been to reach this place, this very specific place. However, Gideon, pirates, and harsh landscapes would be in their way. This could have been a great way to go ahead and explore Mandalore and go ahead and just throw in a bunch of enemies for them to fight. But as we could clearly see, they did not do that. Perhaps Mando could have met other Mandalorians in his travels that used to be part of the covert, but were banished for taking off their helmet or breaking small little rules that were like cause for banishment. Create a group effort to be cleansed. Even have Bo come along, or perhaps invite the covert itself to claim Mandalore. back after it was discovered that it wasn't toxic enough to actually kill you outright. This could have been cool, like going ahead, the initial goal to going ahead and getting other Mandalorians to be cleansed in the water, and then using that as a bridge to be like, hey, we can actually take back Mandalore and bring our people here. This would be a great goal if like the whole season was going ahead and, you know, going towards this. But the only episodes that went towards this was like what, 7 episodes into the season to go ahead and actually build this up, and they didn't even do it that well. So it's just honestly a shame that it happened this way. It just truly disappoints me, honestly. Back to the show. They return to the covert and are both accepted because they both went in the water, essentially. We get an episode where a foundling gets captured by a giant bird or something. Honestly, that episode bored the shit out of me. It didn't really matter. It was pretty neat to see Mandalorians work together, but this episode was just a way to pad out time, in my opinion. The next episode of importance has pirates take over a town that Greef Karga, you know, looks after. And he wants Mando's help to take it back. With the help of Mando and his other fellow Mandalorians, they were given acceptance and even land to properly settle when all things were said and done. The scenes where they take out the pirates and everything was honestly pretty badass. I'm not going to discredit seeing Mandalorians sweep these pirates up. And honestly, it was just a great part of the episode. But I wanted to see more of a Mandalorian presence in The Mandalorian. After this episode, Mando and Bo go to a planet that apparently needs their help or something. I didn't really pay attention much to that, but whatever, right? And they discover that there are Mandalorians docked on the planet, but need to help with the planet's issues, apparently, to gain the ability to see these other Mandalorians in this separate dock. This episode was the one with Jack Black and Lizzo, and honestly, I didn't care for it. Did it break my immersion? I mean, kinda, but not really, I guess. I honestly ignored a lot of it and just, you know, was on my phone for primarily most of the time, or wanted to be on my phone, because it was honestly just boring and just slop. It was just bad. The problem with the robots acting out, God, it was so stupid. Instead of contacting someone with the expertise to situate the situation, apparently, they task bounty hunters to do it. It's so fucking stupid. Just go ahead and ask an outside source of somebody with the expertise with robots to help deal with it. It's so goddamn stupid. Why not do that? But they said, hey, bounty hunters that probably don't know what they're doing here, figure it out. And they did. Yeah, they did figure it out, but that's mainly because of plot and because they're good at their jobs to investigate and see what's going on. But honestly, the whole problem itself was just so fucking stupid. As these two bounty hunters go ahead and solve the ruler's robot issue, that it's honestly pretty damn simple, they meet the very same fleet of Mandalorians that left Bo, and she wants her fleet back. Even though she won her fleet back in a fight, the rest of the Mandalorians still do not see her as the rightful ruler of Mandalore until Mando gives her the Darksaber with an explanation that she defeated the creature that disarmed him, and the saber that used to belong to him now goes to her, and she is now the rightful owner of the blade. This scene honestly gave me a headache because it just proves to me that they're just sidelining Mando and just giving Bo the spotlight, and she's in control of the entire show. Instead of giving the blade to Bo outright, they could have just had Mando reveal the blade and just say Bo is like his right hand woman or something, right? Like that, right? That he wanted them to follow them and follow her as a legal figure among all Mandalorians. Crazy, right? How remembering that you can actually appoint people to leadership positions and have other people go ahead and follow them. Of course, you can argue with the creature disarming him, but there is no honor in that fight. He got trapped, for fuck's sake. There was no wager for the blade. Nothing. So it would have been better that he was still the rightful ruler of Mandalore. In the show, they head back to the covert. Differences are made, there are fights, however, they are given purpose by Bo. Of course, it's Bo who wants to take back Mandalore, and a good number of people went ahead and volunteered for this mission. First of all, of course, Mando. He went ahead and volunteered first, which inspired others to go ahead and join. Taking back Mandalore should have been the overall goal for the overall series itself, honestly, in my opinion. We all know now that Mandalore wasn't as toxic as people initially thought. However, an issue I have is how big Gideon has become, as no one has noticed that much movement in that direction. No ships, nothing. It's a big ass ship. We all saw all the TIE fighters and shit in the whole base, like later on in the series. Like, really? I know it was supposed to be like a secret base, but damn, like, did the Mandalorians on world not see any ships, TIE fighters, nothing roaming around? It's a little bit too convenient for me. If they angled it right, they could have had the Mandalorians on world wage a whole rebel-like war against Gideon's forces. They lack the equipment to get off world, but they have become one with nature to help fight back and survive. That could have been fucking cool to see. Alright, back to the show. Gideon is back to his antics, and it's a bit mysterious what he's doing, I guess. Bo, Mando, and the others who volunteered arrive to Mandalore and explore it, trying to find the forges of Mandalore. And the forges are said to be the heart of Mandalore itself. Again, I love the idea of taking back Mandalore. However, this goal is much too big to be done in 3 fucking episodes. Simplifying it makes it much too easy to argue that this could have been done anytime if you had the resources. Thrawn being name dropped and the leadership of the Empire struggling on what else to do makes sense. Gideon wanting to go ahead and use this chance to take more power for himself is very in character. This is really the only good thing I can say about the show, or about this season rather. That Gideon is pretty much playing to his strengths and is trying to do as much as he can to be as powerful as he can in all aspects. But hey, look, all of a sudden, oh no, who could have seen this coming? When the Mandalorians are ambushed by stormtroopers, and surprise! Gideon is using Mandalorian Beskar armor to arm his soldiers, and Mando gets separated from the others and is taken by Gideon. Honestly, the only thing I can praise is how smart Gideon is. If I saw a supernatural like being like Luke crush my super robots like nothing, fuck, I'd get super armor too, shit. Paz Vizsla sacrificed himself for the others to escape, rip my favorite Mando. Big battle happens, the Darksaber is destroyed by Gideon, who's in super armor like it's Fallout to fight Bo. The only thing that upset me more than Mando being sidelined, more than the wasted potential of these goals that I named, was the destruction of the Darksaber. The Darksaber is a symbol of Mandalore, and the fact that they wrote it in to be destroyed is just such a fucking waste in my eyes. What could have been cool is that the Darksaber could have been vaulted and used as an inspiration to wield similar sabers by Mandalorians. This could be the turning point to a new era where they are done fighting over the saber, and this would have allowed Grogu in the future to have his own saber akin to the Darksaber, alike whatever to a damn lightsaber, and be a mixture of both Mandalorian culture and, you know, Jedi culture. That would have been fucking cool. But again, that won't happen. RIP my boy Paz, hope your son carry on the Vizsla honor. The big battle where all the Mandalorians fight the Beskar stormtroopers, it was kind of cool to sort of see. We didn't really see much of it. I wish we did. Then there's Gideon with the super Beskar armor beating the fuck out of Bo, right? Which with his armor really did overpower her. He knew his limits and was smart enough to take advantage of knowing them. Mando went ahead and destroyed his clones. At some point, Bo and Mando fight Gideon, and they win. Big explosion, right? Big celebration as they win the battle, and the forges are lit again in Mandalore. The season ends with Mando having its own house, and that's it. That's the entire thing, and they go off to go do space adventures with Grogu. That's it. The ending I felt was rushed. Of course it was rushed. Of course it was. Most of the season was directionless. No clear goal. The death of Gideon was incredibly disappointing. A big old explosion because of a big old ship coming down and destroying him, apparently. It would have been much better if he escaped and Thrawn captures him. The Thrawn that has been missing, and goes ahead and orders him to be executed, showing us his design and his face, and this would bridge into Ahsoka, the show. While it was cool that the Mandalorians lit the flames of the forges, there could have been a way bigger payoff to this. Like, it would have been amazing if, like, some of the ideas I went ahead and expressed were utilized, and it could have been a great payoff to see these forges, what they have been fighting for all season long, to be lit. Mando having his own home and will continue to go on adventures with Grogu is nice. It's pretty sweet. Until you realize Mando will probably not see Grogu grow out of being an apprentice, as he is still biologically a child when Mando will eventually die of old age. I think season 3 was a big waste of time, a big waste of potential and growth for specifically Mando. All Mando really cares about is his people, his culture, his religion. What should have been the main point of season 3 was Mando finding what he wants to do, how he can give back to his people. I think Mando's desire to expand and develop his culture more could have been a great way to develop his character some more instead of just being a side character in his own show. Like that, going ahead and just essentially the season being him trying to get bathed in the waters of Mandalore or taking back Mandalore. The entire season needed a goal, but it didn't have a whole direction to go on until maybe like the 7th episode. It's just a shame. Bo takes the lead too much in the show, which is my problem with it. But her being the leader of the Mandalorians is fine. Mando himself isn't a ruler. He isn't a politician. He is a leader who leads by example, and that's not something the Mandalorians need right now. Essentially, he could be just somebody who is the right hand of Bo, but taking the whole show into her hands and having her lead it, it was a little bit too much. It wasn't something that was necessary. Mando is the show, not Bo, and her taking control of the show really didn't sit right with a lot of fans. The show should have had Mando connecting his allies with his people. Boba Fett and his connections could get them some really good work. The lady who helps Mando with his ship and his problems can use her connections to help the Mandalorians get ships. Grief Karga could really give them some really good work, but also supplies and even connections to supplies to help the Mandalorians live and thrive. All the while dealing with pirates, bounty hunters, and remnants of the Imperial forces trying to take from the newly reunified Mandalorian people. We could have literally seen Mando contribute so much to his people, his culture, and we could have seen Grogu witness all this, the rise of a new Mandalorian culture, of a new Mandalorian kingdom. In season 3, we could have had the build-up to Mandalore, the build-up to take back Mandalore, the journey to Mandalore, or at least its heart. That would have been progression, that would have been amazing to see, but alas, it did not come to be. That's what I think should have happened in season 3 of The Mandalorian. My other ideas that I went ahead and sprinkled throughout the video could fit very well in season 3, where the whole season 3 could be his journey to be cleansed in the waters of Mandalore, or just take back Mandalore itself. I think these ideas will be pretty badass, but they didn't happen. These aspects of The Mandalorian were turned into hollow points, like little footholds for them to pad out the whole season with. And I just don't think that's right. There was nothing developed, no payoff. It was just surface level work to do, and it's just a tragedy. It's a tragedy in my eyes that they went ahead and wasted so much good potential for The Mandalorian. If you enjoy the content so far, agree with me, disagree, or want to discuss it, let me know. I'm always up in the comments seeing, what you guys say, and always replying. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. See you guys next time. Quick side note, I went ahead and went to a Galactic Empire show, and honestly, it was such a goddamn blast. Shout out to them for being honestly amazing. Check out a bit of my experience. Have a great day, everyone.